When I opened my eyes one morning, I felt as though I lacked the strength to even get out of bed. I felt as though everything had stopped and that I had no purpose in breathing at all. I was being attacked by everything. All of my prior transgressions and injuries had combined to overwhelm me thoroughly. I felt incredibly empty within. I turned to look at the dim sunlight peeking through the drapes. I had previously enjoyed the sunlight, but now it felt uncomfortable and alien. That morning, I was unable to move from my bed. Everything felt so weighty, so pointless. Not even for myself, I had nowhere to flee. I felt I didn't deserve this. But I also had the question, how am I going to get out of here? I lived like that for a long time, opening my eyes and watching the days go by without doing anything. Speaking with an old buddy one day, he advised me to get expert assistance. I initially objected because I felt more weaker when I was reliant on other people. On the other hand, I realized deep down that I couldn't get rid of this load by myself. At last, I made the decision to attend treatment. I was really afraid when I first entered the therapist's room. The thought of facing myself made me frightened. However, I realized in my heart that this might be the only option. At the beginning of my therapy, everything was still really challenging. My therapist advised me to write in a journal to better understand who I am and to make a daily goal for myself. These recommendations initially sounded pointless. When I picked up the pen, I was hesitant to write down all of the darkness inside of me. Everything is miserable and weighed down. Eventually, though, I came to see that every syllable made me feel a bit lighter. I started writing in a diary and started to rediscover the lost aspects of myself. I began to spend at least 10 minutes outside each morning to take in the fresh air. Initially, I moved slowly and cautiously, but every morning I felt more resilient than the one before. Something inside of me was gradually being revived by losing myself in nature and listening to the rustle of leaves. It seemed as though the emotions I had long repressed were resurfacing. I maintained my therapy for several months, and even though it was only gradually, I began to reestablish a connection with life. I woke up one morning with an odd sense of calm. It appeared that tranquility and quiet had taken the place of the previous emptiness. I gradually started to trust and understand myself once more. It had been difficult to escape the despair, but now I felt that every moment I lived was valuable. Everything appeared so much clearer. Looking back now, I see how valuable it was to rediscover my inner strength. I know that it is difficult to come out of the darkness, but it is never impossible. Those difficult days I was in are now in the past. Knowing the value of every moment of life, I continue to live, waking up every morning with a new hope.